Okay, well now we'll have some fun here. Okay? So we're going to focus on that value proposition right now. Okay, so we talked about this. What's the matter?
Make it bigger.
It says PC. I can't do PCs anymore. Okay, so you've seen this slide. Okay? They care about cost because they don't really understand the value. They don't have the expertise, and they clearly don't have the time. Okay? So you want to sit in the conversions of all three circles. Okay? They a lot of time have organizational cultural issues like, hey, do this. Oh no, we should do this tomorrow. So there's a lot of jumping around a lot of times with these small businesses, and the result of that is a less than cohesive strategy, and then they also have a sort of one and done mentality. We did a campaign, it didn't work. Now what did we learn earlier this morning? How many times do you have to do it before you can actually say it didn't work? 4 times. Okay.
Customer may have a different opinion.
What?
The customer may have a different opinion.
We have to educate that to them. You know, because they basically go back to that pyramid if it's B2B. Yeah, you did that campaign once, but it only applied to 3% that knew they needed it now. The rest have to come around to it, and we can't tell you. Okay? Accessible data and what they know about their customers continue to be an issue. We don't have the people, and they often don't think they have the monitoring resources. The slow economy sped up the whole change over to digital, and we're actually spending way more on digital today than all things moving. Now, you've seen this slide before. I know I showed it to you before. 5,000 marketing messages a day. That's what you guys see. 5,000. Okay? So your customers' customers have to pick them out of a lineup with 5,000 people in it. 5,000 companies. Okay? Does that sound easy? No, it's not easy, which is why they need help. Okay? And you really don't remember very much of them, those messages on a given day. Okay? So basically, using cross-channel marketing can help us improve response rates, which we saw earlier, improve the lead quality through being able to tell what people are doing and how interested they are, improve sales productivity, because again, these smaller companies don't have gazillions of sales reps either, and usually the sales reps are responsible for everything from awareness to loyalty and everything in between. So making them as productive as possible is going to have a big payoff, right? Increasing sales, that cross-channel can help you do that. Improved loyalty can help you do that. Gets you that sort of holy grail of continuous improvement, so we're not like languishing at 1.6% response rate for the next 200 years. And it gives you that ROI. That's the value proposition. Increases results through relevance and multiplicity. Okay, they see the message in multiple channels. It's relevant. You have good calls to action, all those things we talked about in the first module. It gives you that tracking so you can get smarter. That's the key. Okay? It's a one-to-one world now. We saw that 62% of all campaigns are either personalized or version. Everybody knows the difference, right? Version versus personalized. So it's all really about custom markets instead of mass marketing. Okay? And then social media gives you another kind of way to interact with your customers and basically turn them into promoters. So just to refresh your memory, we've done this a million times. Relevance gets you 3 times the improvement in response just by making it relevant. Okay? Personalization gets you some response, but it keeps getting lower and lower because people do it today without the relevance. Okay, so just because you have my name on it is not nearly as clever as it used to be. Okay, so it's really about, does that message relevant? Okay, and what you really want to get to is that cross-channel interactivity helps me get smarter, tells me what to send them next, and you end up in a learning relationship. Now, some people do this learning relationship like super well, and your example of Johnson & Murphy is perfect. I know you're a customer. I gave you a relevant offer, a copy was relevant, it made sense to you, you cut it out and put it in your wallet, they knew you didn't act upon it, so they tried to push you over the edge with subsequent messaging. Okay? So your retailers tend to do a really good job of that, your big retailers. The little ones, not so much. Okay? So that's an opportunity. And basically now they're going to know he responds to the 50% off offer. Okay? So now I know which offer to send you. I don't send you the buy one get one for 8. I send you the 50% off because that's the one you respond to.
Okay. Next time they send you 45% off and see if they get by on that.
Well, actually, now they know what he likes. I may never have to offer you a discount again. Okay? Because now I can say, hey, how about this shirt that I know you really like because you already bought one like it. Okay? So that should work to your advantage. The more I know about you, the more I can get you to buy without buying the business. Okay? So the goal is that I work this into a integrated relationship or an interactive relationship where I keep learning about you. I know what messaging that I should be sending you, and ultimately that ends up in these 20 times the lift response rate. Does that make sense? Now, let's go to nonprofit, because some of you do nonprofits. What's that holy grail with nonprofits? Okay, so over here we know what kind of shirt he likes, we know when he tends to buy, when he acted on that direct mail piece, and what offers compelled him to do something. On the nonprofit side, what does that look like?
They want donations.
Okay, but what's
tied to their
the
fundraising efforts and events.
Okay, that's part of it. Like, what's your affiliation look like? Okay?
Do you have, is this where you're going? You have to continually make the cause of a nonprofit fresh.
Okay? That's true. Like, what do I personally care about?
Yes.
Okay, so let's take United Way. I mean, they have 50,000 things underneath United Way. Do I care about all 50,000 of them? No, I do not. Okay, I like the American Kidney Foundation or whatever because my brother has a kidney disease. Done. Okay, so basically when they said, where do you want your money to go? And I click that button, then from that point forward, they should be saying, hey, contribute more to the United Way, we'll help more with the National Kidney Foundation. Just want to let you know, our gift to XYZ Research Organization has diminished the amount of kidney disease in this country by 2%. That's the kind of messaging I want to get. Does that make sense? So for donors, I want to understand what drew you to us in the first place and what you care about. What aspect of the value proposition? Because most nonprofits have multiple things that they do. Think about the Red Cross. I've got disaster recovery. I've got, all kinds of blood donate, tons of stuff inside of that. Okay, and some people care more about other pieces and parts of it. So I should have a campaign that lets me figure out what is the one you care about, Kate. Does that make sense? It could be as easy as, here's the 5 great things we did this year. What one did you click on? Ah, she seems to like that one the most. Where else does that matter? Think of raising money. Where else is that going to matter?
University.
Exactly. Okay? Because some people care about building a science lab, and some people care about, getting into the SEC. Okay? So if I keep saying to you alumni, hey, help us with the science lab, and I could care less, am I going to react to that? Okay? I need that message that says about what we're doing to beef up the sports. Because that's what I care about. Does that make sense? So that's very similar. Like, anything that has wide, sort of wide appeal, you got to figure out which part of that the people care about. Because that's what their messaging should look like. Okay? That's that non-relationship. So we did this last time. Here's the basic components of it. You start with some data. Customers, not customers. You have to send out the message via some channel. Okay? So if it's a good customer, what might my primary channel be? It's a good customer who's interacting with me right now. Email. Okay? Now, what do I do when they fall asleep and stop opening emails and clicking on stuff?
Send them to something else.
Okay.
Text.
Well, if I have it, text is fairly intrusive, so I probably don't want to go that way. Okay?
Probably
So
go
what
see
else
them
do I
because you need
have?
some interaction. Maybe.
What?
Probably go see them. Go visit with them.
Oh,
Face
you're a
to face.
client? Yeah, you can do that. So direct sales, but that's pretty important, it's pretty expensive. Every time you go wandering
What's
out
the
there,
loss
that
of a
costs.
customer because they were mad at you?
Pardon me?
What's the loss of a customer because they were mad at you?
I'm not gonna argue with it. That is completely true. Okay? So now, magnify that, a company that has 400 salespeople, and they each have 4,000 customers. Do I want them going out to visit every customer and say, are you mad at me?
No.
It's not gonna be productive. Okay, but in your size business, very. It's a good thing. Okay, so go back to where was I going with that? Okay, so message channels. Good customers, email's good, because they're interacting with us, they're opening our emails, and it doesn't cost very much. Okay, but when they fall asleep, I need maybe direct sales, maybe direct, a postcard or direct mail type of campaign. Okay? Because I gotta wake them back up again. Okay? So new prospects, I want new prospects. What's a good channel?
Mail, email.
Okay, mail, email less, because they don't know you. It could be good, but it's
You
probably
might
less
not
good.
even have the email address.
You might not even have an email address. So direct mail's going to be good in that. Display ads and things like that could be good. So I put a display ad up there that says, hey, our value proposition is X, and somebody clicks on it and says, yeah, I want more information. That could be good. Okay, depends. Then I want something that is trackable. Something. Okay? It could even be, as ridiculous as it sounds, count the phone calls that come in. Okay, that's weak because people don't tend to count things correctly. But at least it's something. Okay? A lot of those bigger, small mid-sized businesses have call tracking systems. Like they have switches that could tell, we put the number, this number, and we could tell what extension, how many times calls came in, and you could track that one theoretically if they wanted that kind of interaction. Other than that, it's going to be, I opened the email, I clicked on the clicks, I went to the landing page, I clicked on more stuff, I asked for stuff, I watched videos. All of that stuff is trackable. And don't forget about the website. Especially a nonprofit. I was looking for the statistic this morning. I think the average is like 3 times or something. People will visit your website at a nonprofit 3 times before they actually make a gift because they want to validate, is this legit and all. And so, even the more important to know what that website traffic looks like. So if we're reaching out to new donors, and with our message for the first time, they may not hit the landing page. Because like, who the heck are you? I don't know you. But maybe it was like, oh, let me check them out. So you might not get the response on the landing page yet because they're not ready, but you could show improvement on the website. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so then you're going to try to pick up some information either overtly or covertly. Overtly is, Kate, are you going to be buying in the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Kate, what are your next, in priority order, your next 3 home improvement projects? Kate, what's your biggest business priority? Finding new customers, selling more to existing customers, keeping customers. Like all that's overt. Then the covert thing is what are they clicking on? Okay? And if you do that right, you can actually sort of see where people are. Okay? So let's say, go back to that content map I had earlier. 5 reasons why businesses aren't as successful as they should be. That's early interest. I don't know what my problem is, but something's not, I'm not completely satisfied with what I got. So they click on that. Right under that I have, top 10 reasons why cross-channel marketing can help you. I already know I think I might need cross-channel marketing. And then the last thing is, white paper on how other plumbers have made money using cross-channel marketing. Even more qualified. Okay? And last one is contact us. Okay? So you could build it so you can actually see what they're looking at. Now it gets a little bit more complicated if people start clicking around, but generally speaking, more clicks are better than less clicks. So even if I can't tell what priority order, but you clicked 4 times, that's probably good. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so then I'm going to do whatever I need to do to push you over the edge. I'm going to generate some revenue. I'm going to look at who bought what. Okay, where did this work? Where did it not work? Think back to the union this morning. Hey, this message is not working with young males. Something's the matter. Either the picture wasn't relevant, or the message isn't relevant. Something's wrong. So then I turn that into what my next steps of action are. And then anything else that you're doing, social media could be a primary channel, so it could be up in 2, but then anything else that you're doing out there needs to not shoot yourself in the foot. Okay? So even if it's not a primary channel, if you have a social media presence and you're doing stuff, we got to make sure that it works together. Okay? All right, so 40% of direct marketing success comes from the list. We talked about that earlier. We talked about ways this morning that you can look at your data. So profile, create predictive models, purchase data that matches those models, hypothesize and test, and then keep looking at what's happening and making observations about it. Okay? Channels. The only way you know that is from a thorough understanding of what people do in your world. Okay? So somebody gave a good example, like the restaurant, the marketing. Okay? So if you know that I go to P.F. Chang's in cities all over the country, what would that tell you? Yeah, yes. But it would tell you, okay, she's traveling. Now, I may not know business or pleasure, but I know she's a traveler. Okay? If I get you to to give me information, like you joined the P.F. Chang's loyalty program or something, which I don't even know if they have, but let's just say I did that. What? Yeah, well then, now they'd have my email, okay? And if they got really good with like GPS locating and stuff, they could be like, Kate, it's 11 o'clock in Houston. Come by P.F. Chang's for lunch. There's one a mile and a half from you. Okay? So you, on the consumer side, they're already doing stuff like that. Okay? So if you, I mean, and how many of you like give out your mobile number? Are you like a lot? I was expecting like people to go, no, I don't want to call. Do you do it? You should do it because then you can see it. Okay, you can see like, yeah, it's a little annoying because you're gonna get stuff you don't want to see, but you can actually learn from it because you're like, they know I'm in Chicago. That's amazing. Like, and then I start trying to figure out, like, what are they trying to get me to do? But I learned from that. Yeah, that's right. Okay. All right. This is key, multiple channels, multiple channels, multiple channels. People use more media today simultaneously than ever before, and your response is going to increase if they see the same message or a variation of that message in more than one channel. Okay? 10 to 15% it goes up. And so think about that distraction. This is why cross-channel works. Oh, I really like that. I'm going to have to visit their website. Completely free. Okay? Then the email comes through with the link right there, and all I have to do is click it. So I've eliminated the distraction. Okay, so that's why you're responsible. Okay? More channels mean better response. So here's those response numbers. Okay, so look at that. Print only 6, print an email 7.6, print a web landing page is 7.6, 8.2, 8.7. The holy grail of more channels, better response. And generally speaking, you get better conversion on it. And it gets a little wonky there in the middle, and that has to do with how easy it is to respond. So if I send a postcard with a pearl, I still have to remember to go to the computer, and I still have to remember the pearl and all that. So you don't necessarily get the same hit that you get with email and landing pages. Okay? All right, so direct mail directly influences the purchase of an item or service more than any other channel. Okay, so don't forget that when you're talking to people. 50% of those receiving permission-based emails say they are more likely to buy products from the sender in the future, regardless of the channel. Okay, so I've opted in. I want to hear from you. That's logical. I want to hear from you. I'm likely to buy from you again. I gave you my info. Right, so that's not surprising. And 98% of the U.S. online population, now there's still some people out there that are on the law, of the online population is using social media. Okay, so that's an important part.
But a piece is missing though is
What?
frequency.
Oh, okay, I actually have this in another present. Do you want to take a guess at it? How much time do Americans spend interacting via social media on average? A day.
2 hours.
They're very smart. It's 2.3. Wow. Okay? They spend, I know it's insane. And there's a huge percentage of the people who spend more time doing that than sleeping. Okay? Now remember, that's skewed by the kids who are on there 10
Because they're
hours a
sleeping
day.
with their phone and they'll wake up.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, is that 98%, the higher percentages there is one thing, but like I said, you've got to range the younger and the more frequent, older, less, there's,
Yeah, it's
there's
an
people that have a
average.
Facebook account, they log into it once a week, once a month.
Yeah, it's averages. Okay, so the kids are skewing that average. Okay, but how many of you have clicked? How many of you are on Facebook? How many filled out their profile? Okay, how many have gotten an ad on Facebook that they clicked on? Okay, I'm a Cardinal fan. I had a Cardinal ad, buy a T-shirt, buy a hat, buy a pennant, all month long because the Cardinals were winning. Okay, because I said I like the Cardinals in my profile.
Buy
Okay,
anything?
what?
Did you buy anything?
Oh my God, if you knew what I bought.
On there?
On Facebook.
On
Yeah,
that?
I did.
Okay.
But it's so stupid, I like it
That's
embarrassed.
right, but then it worked.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I made coffee mugs that have my dog's pictures on them wearing a Cardinal.
Now you get a lot of emails from that.
And I had them shipped to me overnight. I mean, I got a ridiculous amount. It was just absurd. I was a total
Hey, get it for the
emotional.
next game.
Remember, consumers are emotional. Because I got to thinking, how cute will this be when I give my husband his coffee in the morning because he's a Phillies fan, and so I got totally carried away. But anyway, so that consumers do that. They get emotional. Okay, so
Price didn't matter, did it?
of course not.
So,
The dogs are wearing baseball uniforms.
and they're
How
my
cute is
dogs.
that? Yeah. Okay, so my point there is, yes, heavily skewed young, but you'd actually be surprised now that, there's a fair amount of usage across the board now in all demographics in social media. Okay, so just to make the point that channels change, you would think that kids don't like direct mail because they're totally digital savvy, but that Epsilon survey found that in certain market segments, 18 to 34-year-olds actually preferred marketing offers via direct mail. And there's your segments. Okay? 25, and the reason for that was the perception was I get too much email. Okay? Now, does anybody have kids, you can't send them an email? They
You
won't
gotta text
respond.
them.
Yeah, you have.
You
If
have
you
to
want to talk to a 20-year-old, you
It's
better.
true.
15-year-old.
Now, eventually, they're going to do that. Okay? And we even talked about this last time. They used to be all Facebook. That we got on, they don't like Facebook as much.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're there. Who wants their mother looking at what they did last night at the party? So now what do they do? Instagram and tweet. They've completely ruined Twitter for the rest of us. Okay? But anyway, that's the channels change. Okay? And you need to be cognizant of that, which is why the tracking's so important. Hey, Kate used to open every single email we sent her, and now she's not. We need something else. Okay? Inbox placements have been holding steady at about 80% on the email. They declined to a record low of 76.5 in the second half of 2011. Why? There's just more of it, and ISPs are getting better at getting it out, not letting it. Okay? Landing pages, this is key. 46% of Americans prefer to respond to direct mail online. Okay, why?
They don't want to talk to anybody.
That's part of it.
If this push 1, if that push 6.
Oh, that's
It's
it.
Or
anytime
20 minutes
they-
later, you do finally talk
It's
to
at
them.
12 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning that they actually do their work.
Right. Okay, so you're getting that. All that is true. I can take care of it. I'm done. I'll have to wait till tomorrow to try to call you. Okay? Because I'm going to forget tomorrow. It'll be another 6 months before I remember this. Okay? So that's why they like it. And so you got to think about that from your customer standpoint. Hey, if we send them this direct mail piece and they look at their mail at 10 o'clock at night, what are they going to do? Okay? Which is, one of the things that a lot of people mess up is, okay? So I get that. I didn't do landing pages. I just did direct mail, let's say. Customer gets to direct me, that's interesting. And let's say it's a good offer, something off. I go to the landing page, and the landing page, or the website, and it's all just regular stuff. And so I can't find what they were talking about. And so I give up. Okay? And chances are I'm not coming back. So one of the pieces of advice is, okay, if you're gonna run this promotion, half off your next dry cleaning, or whatever the heck it is, you need a banner ad, you need that to be reflected on your website. You need to update that website with this campaign logic, so that if they lose the card and go to the website, they still, oh yeah, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so you need to recommend that. Can anybody do website programming? Anybody gotten into that? You can raise your hand. Okay, so that's another piece of this, the cross-channel aspect of it. Okay. So, why landing pages that are in okay, so good, bad. This is where we start to get in best practices. There's a website, okay, lots of words, some images, a big long menu on the one side, lots of pieces on it. What's more sort of inviting?
One on the right.
Okay, yeah.
Color.
I got a little less words, I got a big giant button. Okay, best practice, big giant buttons. Okay, and the button should say, if you say like, buy now, it should also say click here. Okay? I used to fight with people all the time. Okay, but it's a little bit more inviting. So landing pages, they look different from your website for a reason. Your website has everything on there because somebody's coming to you looking for something. The landing page needs to be specific. Okay? Right landing page can give you a big payoff. So there's an original landing page like the website on the left. Then they reoriented it, and the click-through goes up, or the click-through on the page goes up 320%. Because it's a little bit more inviting. And it's real clear what I'm supposed to do in that box. Okay? Personalized URLs typically increase click-through from form submission between 3 and 5%. Why do I care about form submission?
They took the time
To qualify. Okay, they gave me information. Okay, so whatever I can do to get you to give me information back makes me smarter. Okay, so additional landing page best practices, tailor the experience to the needs of the user. Okay, so it should be simple. This is what I want. Okay, all clicks are not created equal. So some clicks are more important. Click to I want more information, much more important than the top 10 reasons why, whatever. Okay, make sure you pre-populate forms. You have the data. You know who you send it to. Okay, make it easy for them to finish it. Not have to type in 6 lines of information. Okay. And then kind of only ask what you're going to use. Nonprofits are notoriously bad at this. You go to that giving page and they'll have 97 questions. And what's going to happen if I have 97 questions? Or 20 or 7?
They're gonna get tired, so.
I get distracted somewhere in there between 3 and 4. Okay? So think about, hey, Mr. Customer, like customers will be like, oh, I want to find out how they heard about us. Okay, what are you going to do with that? Yeah, but like, how I heard about you might be the yellow pages. Am I going to invest any more in the yellow pages? Probably not. Like, so what are you going to do if they answer this question? How can it help you? Because I'm burning a question, okay? The ideal number of questions on a form is somewhere 3-ish. Okay, so I want to burn a stupid question. Okay, so I always kind of say, okay, what are you going to do with this info? And when they give us this answer, how are we going to use this to get better? And if I can't think of something, then we don't need to ask it. And the other big thing is you don't need it all at once. This is about creating conversations with people, not being one and done. So I should be able to, if I do this right, keep talking to you. So I can pick up pieces of information along the way. I don't have to do it all in one thing. Does that make sense? Okay, so you want to question. When they give you that survey with 22 questions, you've got to question them. Okay? Overt, covert, we talked about. But the goal of that is to see what you're doing, to try to qualify the level of interest that you have so I know what other messaging to send you. Okay, use visual cues. Look at the arrows next to the little gecko. Get a quote, get a quote, get a quote. That's what they want you to do. Click here, click here, click here. So you can build your website, your landing pages like, what do I want them to do? The visual path should go towards what I want them to do. Okay? Remember last time I showed you that really horrible Comcast campaign where the call to action was way at the bottom of the page and you had to keep scrolling down and then you clicked on it and you got a page that looked almost exactly like the page you first looked at? I'm going to get distracted there. Versus, what do you want to quote on? What zip code are you in? They made this as easy as possible. Okay? All right, reel them in. Okay? Now, I used to like progressive disclosure on the pages because back in the day, like with Mindfire, like you could see they moved from page 1 to page 2. They moved from page 2 to page 3. And I liked that because I could be like, okay, whatever we said on page 1 worked. For 90% of the audience, move to page 2. You know, like I like that. But the reality is we're now all too busy. Like nobody takes that much time. So, or they, I mean, occasionally. But so you want to make it easy to get the action that you want. So this page where the form is just right there, a one-pager, is actually going to give you more conversions than you have to keep going through pages to get to the payout. Does that make sense? Now you can do some tricks. If for some reason you need multiple pages, you want to do like that survey bar, you're 2/3 of the way down. You know, so that people don't go, when is this going to be over? And get distracted. Okay, so if they can say, you're on question 2 of 3, okay, I'll keep going.
I've actually closed them down.
If they,
It's just too much.
Oh, it is.
Go somewhere else.
I once took a cruise on the Potomac to look at the monuments. They said he has 65 question thing. Well, I mean, this is my business, so I, you know, after the first page, I was done.
Yeah.
But then I was like, God, these people are stupid. How far is this going to go up?
Exactly.
And I kept clicking through it to 65 questions. I was like, now I did it because it's my business. No other human being would ever go do that. I mean, what were they thinking?
As a government employee.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
You have health insurance now.
Keep most of what's important. Keep most of what's important above the fold, which means in a typical standard screen, I want to see the actions above the fold. And if for some bizarre reason you have just too much, okay, then make sure you have multiple actions. So the get a quote would be at the very top of it, then you could talk, and have get a quote at the bottom as well. Okay, so you should have multiple places to take the action on that page. Okay? All right, so nonprofit, don't get in the way of the gift. This is important. Okay? So donate now. Donate now! Okay? It's right at the top. They have a bunch of other stuff on there. They actually, I'm loving where does your money go? Really good stuff for nonprofits. But the donate now go, and then here it is. Okay, so when they go, I want to make a gift, you don't want to have 42 questions there. Stop it. And a lot of nonprofits have a lot of questions in there. Okay? Like colleges, what year did you graduate? Don't you know that? They'll put that on there as a question. What was your major? Don't you know that? So they just like, I got you, I'm going to ask you a million questions. So watch out for that. So make it as streamlined as possible. If the person says, I'm going to donate now, do not get in the way. Even if your customer's like, I'd kind of like to find out why they, like us. Not now. Okay? Send it in a survey after they make the gift. Okay? Okay, so nurturing is all about learning what they're doing and figuring out. It's kind of like that content map I showed you in Module 2. Where are you and what other stuff do I have to offer you to keep you moving through the buying cycle? Okay? Remember to say thank you. The first step in nurturing is the thank you. Okay? Thank you for downloading this white paper. I know you wanted the white paper because you're probably all the way to, I think I know what I need to do to fix this. So, hey, we have an online demo coming up next week. Please register here. Okay, so the thank you should be the first step of the nurturing process, not thank you for visiting our site. Done, because Mine Fire told us we needed a thank you, so we put one in. Okay, make it do something. Okay, so there's a good example. Okay, so thank you, Jessica. That little writing that you can't see is the next step. And you're now providing underneath that are the other resources, the white papers, the case studies, that stuff. So I can now see what you click on out of the little thank you email, right? All right, so the other thing is that certain industries, all of the opportunity to cross-sell happens immediately. Banking is one of them, okay? So this little graph shows you the percentage of total cross-selling that happens in month 1 versus month 12, okay? All the more important that it's kind of closed loop. You did this, you wanted a quote on our CD rates or something like that. I got to thank you that cross-sells you the next service. I got to do that pretty quick, okay? Because all of my cross-sell opportunity happens fast. That's not the case in all industries. It is true in banking. Okay, so short sales cycle. Because I can get my salespeople focused in the right place on qualified opportunities, they should be able to close them faster than beating their heads against the wall with people that aren't ready yet. Okay, and that's going to improve my productivity, especially important for small businesses. Why?
I mean, they don't want to get started.
Well,
You
they
don't want them to
need
get
they need
They
their
need the
sales.
sales, they don't want to wait.
Yeah, they need their sales, they need their cash, and they usually have like one poor guy or a couple of people running around like maniacs trying to do it all on the sales side.
You don't have a department where they have to go out and ask somebody, and they don't want to make the wrong decision. And the larger companies, they make a decision quicker.
Say that again?
The smaller companies, usually you're talking to a guy who's making the decision. You're not talking to a guy that wants to go talk to somebody else that makes the right decision.
Right. Okay, so
That made sense, I hope it did.
I think I know where you're going. It is easier to get to the top in a small business, okay, but they're usually strapped for people. Okay, so they may have one salesman, a couple salesmen, they don't have a ton. Okay, so they need those guys to be as productive as possible. Think about your own self. Like you had a gal that got you some good leads and you went in and you were able to close them and convert them to customers. That's a good, I mean, she didn't work out, but she got you what she wanted, which was some opportunities you didn't know about yet. Okay, that's what the small businesses need. So anything you can do to make their sales process more productive, the bigger impact it has on them. Okay? And the follow-up, if that is a qualified lead, your odds of calling to qualify a lead, okay, go down 6 times in the first hour after a reaction online. So if I download a white paper and you don't call me until 10 hours later, I have virtually no chance of getting you on the phone. Okay? So that means your cross-channel campaign needs to send out triggers to the salespeople. Okay, so customer just converted, they said they want to be called, they need to get that like in a second. And pretty much all the Pearl software platforms can do that. You just say this is who the trigger's going to. Okay, but that's going to be really important. You cannot be like, we pulled a report and we sent it to you on Friday. Because you're going to miss all of the chance to convert them. Okay? And then lastly, look at what's happening and try to make it better. It's all about continuous improvement. What can you learn from what you did and apply it to your learning, okay? So results-oriented, when you want your marketing to work and get you results, it needs to be relevant, it has to have multiplicity, you have to use the right channels for the audience that you're talking to, and there has to be follow-up, whether it's electronic follow-up or human follow-up, okay? As with all marketing, the keys to success are correction selection. That's like conjunction junction. Yeah, exactly. Correct selection of your target audience. Who are we targeting? Okay. Compelling messaging and offers. There has to be a reason for them to keep going. Purposeful creative. People spend way too much time on creative, generally speaking. Okay. Follow the best practices on the layout of the page, but does it have to be award-winning? No, not necessarily. Okay. And then follow. Successful strategies have this clear understanding of what the marketing goal is and how sales is going to align with that. Okay? And sales is either I'm doing it on, you know, if you're doing a consumer product, like I'm going to buy it online, or I'm going to come in your store, and sales is also I have a physical salesperson following up. Okay? So you want to know what they're going to do at the end of this. Okay? Questions?
So what's a good tool to use for emailing out? Like constant contact? Or?
Constant contact is fine. There's another one, there's lots. Okay, what do I have to do to make this big? Because my mouse